Please start.
A pleasant day to everyone. I'm Dr. Ravi Kumar here from Bangalore, India. Uh, so, as all of you know, I need not introduce me furthermore because for the last 3 days I've been introducing me and the other hosters. To tell you about, I welcome all of you on this platform for the Global Train the Trainers program. It is my privilege, honor, and prestige to thank from the bottom of my heart and also to extend my gratitude to the founder of International Internship University, Advocate Piyush Pandit sir, who is the backbone of the International Internship University, and with his utmost and flawless efforts, day and night, he was able to spread the wings of International Internship University across the globe in 195 countries in all the 7 continents. It is also the time for me to welcome and also to extend my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to the backbone of the International Internship University of the Indian chapter, Dr. Snigdha Kadam, who has stand alone to establish this in India and take it to the great heights. And there is one more very honorable person here in this forum today, is none other than that our beloved Vice Chancellor, Dr. Professor Charles Sir, who is always with us for every sessions, whatever we do, whether it is a training session, whether it is just a webinar or whatsoever it is. He has never missed even a single session. And though I and Dr. Charles Sir have not met personally to one another physically, we have become so close just meeting through the virtual meetings. It is my honor, sir. Welcome you again.
Thank you, sir. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Last but not the least, it is my pleasure to invite all the participants for the day 4, that is the last day's session of the Global Train the Trainers Group 2 here. And it is my time now to welcome and also to introduce our renowned speaker for the day, Virginia Rivera. Dr. Virginia Rivera is a very well-known and a very articulated speaker, right? So we are all lucky to have her here today to get the knowledge imparted to us on this very platform. Dr. Virginia Rivera is a social entrepreneur, a certified business mentor, coach, and consultant, and a media proprietor with more than 20 years as a corporate and business leader. As the current president of WEP, that is World Education Policy, she truly believes in the power of education to uplift, empowerment, and prepare us for a sustainable future. To add furthermore, in 2023, she became part of the business conglomerate Piyush Group as vice president. The social initiatives of the group include IIU, that is International Internship University, then the James International School, Future Ratna Preschool, and the first metro e-village, Kunda, in India. In 2016, she co-founded the international NGO, ME Latina, whose mission is to provide free business and entrepreneurial education to all women and help them start their own business in order to attain their economic autonomy. More than 3,000 business founders have been assisted in starting and growing the business. What an achievement. Hats off to you, Rivera ma'am. Since then, Virginia has established 4 different business programs under her brand, Solar Apreneurs, in Persia, USA, Peru, and very soon in India as well. So we are very fortunate. We are looking forward for that, Dr. Varia. She also created a financial literacy program for children between the 4 to 8 years age group called My First Lemonade Stand. Her motto, education can break barriers, challenge inequalities, and create a brighter and more equitable world. Her education, too long. I may not be able to read out all those things. She is a bachelor's degree holder in fine arts, major in dance and dance therapy from Columbia College of Chicago. She is a postgraduate in degree culinary arts and food and beverage management from the Chicago Cooking Academy. She is a MBA specialized in entrepreneurship and innovation from Singapore Business School. She is a doctorate in philosophy and leadership on women's economic empowerment and from Universidad de Venezuela. Certified as a life coach with the International Coaching Federation, certified as a business leadership coach with the Universidad Anáhuac, Mexico, certified as an entrepreneur mentor development by Georgia Tech. Added to this, there are lots and lots of accolades and awards and rewards added onto her feather, but her cap is filled up now and she's finding the places where to keep the new feathers on her cap. It is our privilege and we are honored to have you here, Dr. Virginia. We wholeheartedly welcome you. The whole platform is yours.
No, sir, please wait. I just wanted to add on to this. She
Yes,
is
please.
one of the, strongest pillar of the International Internship University. She always stand by whenever it comes to go even live, whenever there are issues. She's always there and she supports us in whatever way it's possible. Not only this, she's a partner with the E-Village, that is the first metro village of the India, right? And she's working for the underprivileged section. It's really appreciable. Maybe I do not have words to express our gratitude towards her. So indeed, we are blessed this Sunday evening to have her with us. So sorry, sir, I interrupted you, but I need to add this. So it's and I'm very
Yes, ma'am.
happy.
Yes, sure,
when
sure. I'm
when
sorry
we
for
asked
that.
her,
I missed
she
those
was
things.
yeah, she was ready to accept this. So now, yes, the Professor Charles is agreeing with me, showing the thumb from there. Yes, thank you for your support. So the platform is all yours, dear. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you, Snigdha. Those were beautiful words, and I've met Snigdha in person, and she is as lovely as we see her and hear her. Her heart is always open to all. So thank you, Snigdha, for those words. Dr. Ravi, I don't know you yet, but I hope to get to know you better. My dearest brother that I haven't met in person, but I know his soul is beautiful. Professor Charles, always there to support and to help us through. I have to say that I was blessed in 2023 to, by chance, go to India and meet an entire new family. It is now part of my heart, part of what I do. People tell me, Virginia, you work so much, and I never think it's work. I am just really privileged to be amongst all of you and walk alongside you to bring to life Mr. Piyush Pandit's visionary dream, so it moves me to do this every day, but most importantly, it moves me to be accompanied by such amazing individuals as all of you. So thank you. So all of those that are today here with us in this certification, I just want you to say that who you've heard is the creme of the creme, is the best. People with incredible heart. Nothing gets done if heart is not first. Nothing gets done if we don't feel blessed that we're here. So the people that we've listened to in these entire days have been just amazing individuals that I admire so much. So today's topics are very important because I worked for two major companies. One was Aramark, which is a global company that has diversified services. So they do everything. I mean, from concessions to uniforms, and the training aspect of it is so critical for them to be consistent as a global company. The next company that I worked for, I think you may know better, and this is Starbucks Coffee. Starbucks is in over 122 countries right now. They have, wow, more than 500,000 employees around the world. So in order for them to be able to grow exponentially as they have, training is key. Certifying their trainers is so important. And I am so glad that you have said that you want to be certified in this, because once you know, you can do anything, you can work with anybody. So I feel really privileged to be able to share this with you today. I have two important topics. One is the code of ethics and conduct, which without that, we would not have a company with values, that's aligned with the most important part of any enterprise. And also the prerequisites, what do we need in order to do the job correctly? What does your team of trainers need in order to do the job that you need them to do correctly? So I just want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to do this, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to divide this in two modules. This is module 5 and module 6. So module 5, it's the ethics and code content. And actually, these may be topics that may be very dry, maybe. Other topics are maybe more exciting. Nonetheless, I want you to really keep in mind that this is so close to the heart of any organization, because without respect, without really giving our people the opportunity to excel and live to the fullest of their potential, we won't have successful enterprises. So I feel very grateful, and I want you to really pay attention. Any doubts, anything that you don't understand, please don't hesitate to ask. Let me go ahead and try to work. So let's talk to the code of ethics and conduct. The importance of ethics and a code of conduct in training is significant, as they provide a framework for us to work as professionals, but most importantly, I think, as where other human beings work. And I love this image, because normally, if we're all together, we'll do everything together. We'll save ourselves together. I always say that either we look great together or we look bad together. So I want to make sure that we understand the importance of these two topics today. Ethic refers to the moral principles and the values that guide individual actions and decisions. We're talking about the values and the principles of any organization. And if you're going to work with a new company, or you're starting a new company, or you're a founder, always think that this goes directly linked to the values of who you are as a founding person. And we always talk about our visionary founder, Mr. Piyush Pandit. We are so proud to talk about his values, his code of conduct, what he thinks is important. So he's done such a great job, and the organization has done such a great job, that we feel so proud to talk about it every time that we represent our institutions. In the context of training, ethics involves upholding integrity. And think of integrity of doing the right thing when nobody is looking. You could get away with anything, because we're not always going to be with you. Your superiors are not always going to be with you. Your bosses are not, but you do what you have to get done, right? And you know what has to get done the right way. Honesty. So important. And fairness. And I want to say something about honesty, and honesty is not only for being truthful. It's about really being sincere in everything that you do, and fairness in all aspects of the training process. Just because we have a cousin that maybe has the skills and the talent to work with us does not mean that we're going to give him extra or better treatment. We need to make sure that our entire processes are all fair. It includes treating participants with respect, maintaining confidentiality, and avoiding conflicts of interest, what I just explained, and we'll talk about this a little further. A code of conduct is a set of guidelines that outlines what's expected of you or that employee that's going to represent our brand and our company. These are standards of conduct for the trainer. So every company has a set of processes. We need people that are going to help us train the rest of the employees in these processes. So we need to make sure that our trainees and as trainers, we understand where we're going with this. It serves as a reference point for trainers to understand their responsibilities and obligations. A code of conduct helps establish a professional and ethical culture within a training environment. So remember that culture is something that is created in a company or in a corporation or in a group that is intrinsic and most likely intangible. Based on what we know about our core values is the culture of our organization. So when I first joined, when I actually found out about IIU and I went to my first event in India, I was so touched about the respect that Mr. Piyush Pandit commands from his people. He doesn't ask them to, they want to. And that just tells me that the value system and the code of conduct and ethics here in our company is so strong because I didn't have to ask anybody. They just said it voluntarily. I love working here. I respect Sir so much. We do this because we believe in this. So these are the things that if we as trainers can really transmit to the trainees that we're working with, we will definitely have a very successful enterprise in our hands. So what are the reasons why ethics and code of conduct are important in training? Professionalism. Ethics and code of conduct promote professionalism among trainers. They set expectations and they make us act with integrity, competence, and accountability. Participants' trust. We as trainers have to win our participants' trust. If our participants think that we don't know what we're saying, eventually they will not listen to us. So we need to make sure that we have this code of conduct and ethics so they know that we respect it so they can also do it. Ethics and code of conduct build trust between trainers and participants. When trainers adhere to the ethical principles and demonstrate professionalism, participants feel confident in their expertise and trust their guidance. So if I'm here and I'm not respecting you and I'm not allowing you to be who you are, like maybe you have a question and I don't give you the opportunity, or maybe you're speaking and I speak over you, eventually you will not trust me anymore and you will not listen anymore. So these are very important aspects of getting our training, our message across as trainers. Also, we want to make sure it's a safe learning environment. I always tell my trainees and my coachees, this is a safe zone. Where we're at, where you're learning is the moment that we respect each other. There's fairness for all, but most importantly, we're giving you equal opportunity to learn and ask questions. So ethics and code of conduct create a safe and inclusive learning environment. They ensure that all participants are treated with respect and dignity, regardless of their background or characteristics. To talk about inclusive environment is so key today, especially when inclusion and diversity are the big buzzwords in HR in any corporation. The reason why this happens is because before it wasn't. Before we continue to see in some companies how the little boys club or the men's club still supersedes diversity and inclusion. Nonetheless, we have learned so much that bringing in any person, no matter what their circumstances are, that has the talent and the credentials only makes our company better. So a safe learning environment is that no matter what religion, what sexual orientation, what gender you identify with, if you are rich, if you are poor, it doesn't matter what, you will still be given the opportunity to learn in a safe environment. Reasons why ethics and code of conduct are important in training: confidentiality. It's so key that you understand and emphasize that maintaining the participants' confidentiality is key. Trainers must respect the privacy of our participants and protect their personal information. If you have a group of 30, they're only there to learn from you. They're not there as your networking team. They're not yet there so you can use their influence to attain something. They're not there to provide their data unless they want to, right? Avoiding biases and discrimination. Ethics and a code of conduct helps trainers avoid bias and discrimination. Trainers should treat all participants fairly and with equality, regardless of their race, their gender, their religion, or any other characteristic that would set them apart. That is what makes them diverse. Inclusion is what makes us bring them in. So you can have a diverse group, but if you don't have inclusion, you're not allowing them to bring that perspective of diversity into the group. Handling ethical dilemmas. And I think this is probably the most important thing, and that we have to treat with so much respect. Ethics and a code of strong conduct provides guidance on how to handle ethical dilemmas that may arise during training. Trainers can refer to the code of conduct to make ethical decisions and resolve conflicts effectively. So we're going to talk about 2 scenarios today so you can have more or less an idea of what we're talking about. So all in all, an ethics and a code of conduct plays a crucial role in training and promoting professionalism, building trust, creating a safe learning environment, and guiding trainers in making ethical decisions, which are the correct decisions. They ensure that training programs are conducted with integrity, respect, and fairness. So ethical guidelines for the trainers, and you are the trainer. You need to maintain confidentiality of participant information. You need to avoid conflicts of interest. You need to treat all participants with respect and fairness. Professional conduct in training sessions. You're tired, you didn't sleep last night. That is not your participant's problem. You need to be lively, you need to be clear. You can't just say the work is on the wall or the work is on the blackboard or the whiteboard and I'm going to take a nap. We need to always conduct ourselves in a professional manner. We need to be punctual and prepared for each session. You can't just come and wing it. You may know something, but when you're training, you need to follow a process that is easily duplicated. That means that the way I do it, you can look at me, I'm an example, but if I give you a process that's written down and that I can teach you, you can actually duplicate it to make sure that what we're telling you gets done again and again and again and makes our enterprise more consistent. We need to use inclusive language and avoid discriminatory behavior and encourage open and respectful communication. So I'm going to go straight into the ethical dilemmas in training. There's so many, and we're just going to talk about 2. The case studies and the discussion we're going to see today, we're going to deal with a participant who consistently disrupts the training. And the scenario 2, handling sensitive topics and maintaining a safe learning environment. We're going to talk about how to handle these ethical issues. We're going to talk about establishing clear guidelines and expectations. We're going to address the ethical issues promptly and directly so we don't let things just stay there. So just hoping that they would go away. If we want our participants to feel comfortable, we need to address issues quickly. And we need to seek guidance when we don't feel comfortable. Know that you have supervisors and ethics committees that can help you. You know, I always say, when you're fair and just, you're not being a bad guy. You're just following a code of ethics and conduct. If you have to become a bad guy, you remove yourself from the situation and you get your supervisor. You should never be a bad guy. There's somebody else that has to act as that person. You are the trust developer. So if there's something you don't like and you have not been able to address it with fairness and respect, respectfully, you need to seek guidance and let somebody else help you and step in instead of making a bigger dilemma. So we're going to talk about this now as we go through. So ethical dilemmas can arise in training when trainers are faced with situations that require them to make difficult decisions that may have some ethical implications. So I'm going to give you 2 very common scenarios, and I think we've probably seen these again and again, and how to suggest them and how to manage them. Number 1, dealing with a participant who consistently disrupts the training. I'm sure that many times you have been in a place, in a class, in a virtual class, in a training class, and there's always somebody that is speaking out of line, that is speaking loudly, that does not allow you to hear, because maybe, and we don't know if this person has a sensitive situation that has to be addressed. They have maybe a health situation that may have to be addressed. We don't know that because we don't know them. So we need to manage this as ethically as possible. So ethical considerations, treating all participants with respect and fairness. That is your filter. And when I say filter is Everything that you do, anything that you do, is with the filter of respect and fairness. If you don't feel that you're being respectful, and you personally don't feel in your integrity that you're being fair, you need to step back and think about what you're doing and handle it differently. Because the filter we should use always is respect and fairness, even if the other is not being respectful. We need to always keep in mind that that is what we're going to do always. We're going to maintain a safe and inclusive learning environment. That is your number one, additional to respect and fairness. Even if that person doesn't dress like you, doesn't eat like you, doesn't look like you, doesn't smell like you, it doesn't mean that they don't have a position and a value in this organization and with the opportunity. So we need to make sure that maintaining a safe and inclusive environment is for everyone. Scenario one. So how do you manage this? Establish. So this person continues again and again and again to interrupt, to make loud comments, and is always interrupting the training session. So what would we do? We establish clear guidelines and expectations at the beginning of the training. So always take advantage of the beginning of your training, explaining the ground rules. Clearly communicate the expected behavior of every single one of your participants and the conduct that you're expecting to see during the training sessions. Emphasize the importance of respect, active participation, and maintaining a positive learning environment. I would also add that if somebody thinks that they cannot comply with this from the get-go, from the very beginning, you can say, you know what, you can actually step out and I will meet with you outside. And that way you don't have any confrontations inside. If somebody's totally against what you are saying, say, I understand, you validate them, and then you say, you know what, let's meet outside for a moment while we leave the rest watching a video, learning and reading, but always make sure that we understand that many times people behave and react in a certain way because they have some type of reasoning behind it. And we need to validate, not that it's correct, we validate it. Okay, I see what you're saying. Let's talk about that. Address disruptive behaviors promptly and directly. First time, you let it slide. You thought it was a mistake. Second time, you can address, let's be quiet or let's pay attention. Third time, then you address it. If a participant consistently disrupts the training, address the issue privately and respectfully. Express concern about the impact their behavior is having on the other ones, right? On the other person's learning experience, and provide an opportunity for the participant to share their perspective. Like I said before, you want to make sure that you validate their discomfort, whatever it is. It doesn't mean that you agree. I hear you. And you can paraphrase. You're telling me that you don't feel comfortable because you're the only woman in a group of men. You don't feel comfortable because you're the only person in a wheelchair that has some type of functional diversity. You don't feel comfortable. And then we address. We don't say, oh, you're right. No. We address, we validate, and we paraphrase. We tell them. So we make sure that we are understanding what their perspective is. Many times we assume. Let's never assume. Let's always make sure that we are clear about what they want, what they need, and see if we can comply. Sometimes we won't be able to comply, but we want to make sure that we give them the opportunity. Offer alternative solutions. So, there's always a way to do things. We always have a process. But once you step out and you give this person the validation that they need and you listen, you will be able to find alternative solutions. If the disruptive behavior continues despite addressing it directly, consider offering alternative solutions. This could include providing additional resources or support to help this participant engage in a more productive manner. If necessary, involve supervisors or higher level management to address the issue. I'm going to give you one little quick example. And it may not be in the participation, but I was in a closed learning environment. When I was a child, I got bored very easily because I learned very quickly and because I can read very, very fast. So as soon as I understood something as a child, I would probably be bored. And then they identified that I was hyperactive as a kid. So my mother, so teachers would always be behind me. Virginia, you can't speak. Virginia, don't look out the window. Virginia. And I had already finished the work probably in the first 5 to 10 minutes. And the rest of the time I was just there. So the teacher obviously had other students. Finally, the teacher called me aside and said, there's an issue with you. And I said, no, it's just that I finished so fast that I have nothing else to do. And she said, well, how about if I sit you in front and you become my assistant? And you help me with everything as soon as you're done with the work. You help me with the rest. I felt useful. I felt heard. So, this is a very elementary example, but I want you to see when we address it and we validate what's going on. It's just not that Virginia was being misbehaved. It's that there was a reason behind it. And actually, there was a clinical reason behind it. She has hyperactivity. So we need to make her do things. She needs to walk. She needs to stand up. And if anybody who knows me and has talked to me before knows that I am never still. And that is part of my nature and who I am. But my teachers were able to deal with it. So this is exactly what I want you to start to think about. Offer other alternative solutions. Scenario number 2, handling sensitive topics and maintaining a safe learning environment. So the ethical considerations here are respecting participants with diverse backgrounds and perspectives and creating a safe and inclusive space for discussion on sensitive topics. Anything that has to do with religion, politics, and probably gender will come with some type of sensitivity. So we need to be very aware of this. Steps to handle this ethical dilemma. Establish clear guidelines like we did before for discussing sensitive topics. Before addressing sensitive topics, establish ground rules for respectful and inclusive discussions. If we don't all agree on this, this is the way we're going to proceed. Emphasize the importance of listening to different perspectives, maintaining confidentiality, and avoiding personal attacks. I can't stress this enough. All because all you women, because all you Catholics or Christians, if somebody told you something in confidence, oh, because you told me that you have 7 children, that is why you can't be here on time. Anything that is told to you in confidence stays in confidence. Okay, so this is so important. Even if you don't feel like you agree, even if you don't feel that you're being fair, it doesn't matter. What is told to you in confidence stays in confidence. Create a safe and learning environment. Foster an atmosphere of trust and respect where participants feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and experiences. Encourage open dialogue while ensuring that participants can feel supported. If open dialogue is not what you need right then, like we talked before, we will say, give the aggressive participant something to do, and you step outside and we talk about it. Address any inappropriate or offensive comments immediately. If a participant makes inappropriate or offensive comments during discussions on sensitive topics, address the issue. But I'm telling you, don't let it slide. Anything that would make another participant feel less or feel offended has to be addressed immediately. Remind participants of the established guidelines and the importance of respectful communication. Redirect the conversation back to a constructive and inclusive discussion. I think this is so important. If something is not going well, think you are the leader, you're the trainer. Redirect the conversation, change it, give it a pivot. So we change the topic and we deal with it in another way. We help them diffuse the issue. If you can't, like I said before, there is a guideline. There's an ethical guideline in every company. Follow that handbook. It is there to help. And if you have to become a bad guy in order to establish respect, you are no longer being respectful, then you need to seek guidance with a supervisor that can help and step in. So here we go. So seek guidance from supervisor or ethics committees. And a lot of company has an ethic committee. In complex situations, or if you are unsure of how to handle anything, please, please, please seek guidance. I want to tell you something. So many lawsuits are given, and I am from the US, and you are right. US is the land of the lawsuit. If you feel that you were treated unfairly, you have a right to go and use the law to protect you. And the law usually goes with money. I need compensation. Not all countries do this, right? But I'm talking about here. We could definitely close a company if somebody sues a company for not feeling like they were treated with respect, up with millions of dollars. It has happened again and again. So when you don't feel comfortable, you seek guidance from somebody else. And the person, it could be your senior, it could be your supervisor, it could be the president of the company. They can provide additional support, advice, and guidance on how to navigate an ethical dilemma effectively. Remember, ethical dilemmas can be very challenging. They can actually be emotional, and you may not always be clear cut. It's not white or black. It's usually in a very gray area. The lines are blurred. Like I said before, we're going to approach these with respect, always your filter and fairness, with empathy and a commitment to provide a positive and inclusive learning environment. So what is the importance of a code of conduct? Number one, the code of conduct will have a statement of purpose and values. It will have a guideline for professional behavior. It will report mechanism for ethical concerns. It develops a code of conduct for the person who is giving the training. So as a corporation, we have trainers, corporate trainers that will help us bring in new employees to our culture, to our company. We need to make sure that our trainers develop a code of conduct that they understand, and that would be you. Involve trainers and stakeholders in development process. So when you create or your company is creating a code of conduct, make sure that the trainers are there and the people that are going to be mostly affected, so they can actually tell you if something has not been addressed. Review and revise the code regularly to ensure relevance. Many times, things will change in a company. Before at Starbucks, let me give you an example. Our employees were not able, in the United States, were not able to display their tattoos. So they had to wear either makeup or they had to wear long sleeves, cover their necks, wherever the tattoo was, it could not be exposed. Now they changed that code, and now you can expose your tattoo if it's not offensive, if it doesn't have a profanity, if it doesn't have any type of sexual genitalia, if it doesn't have any religious verse, code, or anything. We need to make sure it could be a butterfly. It could be but nothing with words. And that is how Starbucks has reevaluated their code of conduct, because the majority of their people are younger. They're actually younger than millennials. They're Generation Z, and Generation Z feels very comfortable with using their bodies as a way to express themselves. So we need to review and revise the code regularly. Provide training and resources to promote understanding and adherence. Many times we feel that another training is expensive because we have to pay everybody. The truth is, it's more expensive to lose business because we're not aligned with what we're trying to ensure. So we need to make sure that we set aside a budget for training. Importance of the code of conduct. The code of conduct is a set of guidelines that outlines expected behavior and standards. So we were talking about ethical before, now we're talking about the code of conduct. It plays a crucial role in training as it helps establish a professional and ethical culture. Here's some reasons why we need a code of conduct in training. It clarifies expectations. The code of conduct provides trainers with a clear expectation regarding their professional behavior. It outlines the standards and the values that trainers should uphold during a training session. So when you're training your trainers, you need to make sure that they understand that they will set the expectations. It promotes professionalism. The code of conduct promotes how we treat each other. It sets a standard for trainers to act with integrity, competence, and accountability in the interactions they will have with participants and with colleagues. Ensures consistency. Your code of conduct is going to ensure a consistency in all the delivery training programs that they will give. It establishes a common set of guidelines that all trainers should follow regardless of their individual backgrounds or training style. You know, you can have a trainer that says, I just love training in nature, in the outdoors. You can do that. as long as it doesn't violate any of the code of conduct. That is important. But you know what? Just because you go outside does not mean that things change. It should be consistent everywhere. Creates a safe learning environment. The code of conduct will help us create a safe and inclusive learning environment for participants. It sets guidelines and respectful and inclusive behavior, making sure that all participants feel valued and respected. And I think that if you see a participant that is taking a training, you make sure that your trainer knows that if they see somebody that is not engaged, that is not looking, that is falling asleep, that seems visibly angry, we need to take action and validate. Address ethical concerns. Here we go. The code of conduct includes reporting mechanism for ethical concerns. It provides a framework for trainers to report any ethical issues or violations they observe or experience during their training. This helps address and resolve ethical concerns in a timely manner. And this is really, really, really key because you may see a pattern of behavior, or help your trainers notice a pattern of behavior in one of their trainees or participants. Again, every day. If we do not take note of this, if we do not actually document this, we could just be told, you're telling me this because you don't like her, because she's prettier, because she's younger, or you're telling me this because you know that he drives a Ferrari. You're telling me this because you know that he is Christian and you're not. You need to document the instances that you feel that the code of conduct is not being respected and it becomes an ethical concern. Documentation is key. So components of a code of conduct, what does it involve? Number one is the statement of purpose and values. The code of conduct should include a clear statement of purpose and values that trainers are expected to uphold. This sets the foundation for ethical behavior and guides trainers in the right conduct that they should have. So the trainer will train being an example. And also, what are the components? You need guidelines for professional behavior. In your code of conduct, you have to have the guidelines. For example, I joined an organization 3 years ago, and this organization is huge. It's massive. It's all over the world. It's for women. Now we accept men. But initially, it was only for women. And I do remember having one of the leaders saying that she was very, very appalled that men were not included, although the name of the organization is a woman's name. And she got so excited in a negative way about the fact that she could not bring one of her best friends in. And nowhere in this code did it say, number one, that men were or not allowed, but no, most importantly, number two, we never addressed, if you do not agree, what do you do? Instead, she just stood there. She stopped the training. She stopped the meetings until somebody addressed the issue. And I wasn't capable of addressing that issue because that wasn't my concern. I was doing something else. But because there was no code of conduct, I could not tell her that is not allowed. I had to let her voice it out and waste all of our time. I'm not saying that she didn't have a valid point. I'm saying that if I had had a code of conduct, I would have said, I totally understand. Let's read this and help her through this process. But there wasn't one. So this is why it's so important. Reporting mechanisms for ethical concern. So we need to make sure that there is a mechanism, there is a system to address these concerns. The code of conduct should provide clear instructions on how trainers can report any ethical concerns or violations that they observe or experience that are not correct. This ensures that ethical issues are addressed and resolved appropriately. Developing a code of conduct for your trainers. It involves trainers and stakeholders in this development process. Let's make sure that we have everybody who is affected by this code involved, or at least has representation. It is important to involve trainers and relevant stakeholders in the development of the code of conduct. This ensures that the code reflects the values and expectations of the training organization and is relevant to the specific training context. And this is important. If you're a fireman and you're training firemen is not the same thing as training bakers in a bakery. So we need to make sure that we are talking apples to apples. We need to review and revise the code regularly to ensure relevance. The code of conduct should be reviewed and updated regularly to ensure that remains relevant. And as I spoke before with Starbucks and how they have changed because their employees have changed. Provide training and resources to promote understanding and adherence. Trainers should receive training. Just because you're a trainer doesn't mean that you're done. As a trainer, you continuously learn. You're continuously educated, and we need to make sure that we have that in our code of conduct. This can include workshops, training sessions, and ongoing support to ensure that trainers are equipped to uphold the standard. So in summary, the code of conduct is important training as it clarifies expectations, promotes professionalism, and creates a safe learning environment. It addresses the ethical concerns that may arise and ensures consistency in delivery training. I worked for a company called Longhorn, which is a restaurant. I traveled the entire state of Florida, training every single store opening, making sure that every server knew how to address the people at the table. So I needed to do the same thing everywhere I went. And the way I did is I made my trainees fall in love with my code. And how did I do that? Explaining why we do it. We do it so everybody is professional. Everybody feels validated. We know what our values are. And that is so important. When we talk about IIU, anybody who has the opportunity to deliver who IIU is, you will see a smile on their face because we live it. We feel so proud that we are in 195 countries around the world, that anybody with fingertips and a device can actually have access to quality education. That brings a smile to my face. I love it. And I love saying that this was a dream from a young visionary. I live it. So, once you explain what that is, your people will also understand. So we need to develop these codes of conduct and really let people understand why they exist. They exist to protect us all, right? So we need to make sure that we are revising this code and making sure that we're always relevant. So let me give you code of conduct examples. So that could be best practices for trainers, so you have, like I said before, I traveled all the state of Florida in the United States. I opened 21 restaurants. They were best practices. Some trainers just knocked it out of the park. They were so good, so good. So I would say Maria from Naples does this, and then my trainees would understand, oh, so that is what that means. Also, another thing in your code of conduct, you need to maintain confidentiality. Your people will respect you if they see that you're respecting them. Foster an inclusive and respectful learning environment. You need to continuously update and improve training materials. You need to ensure compliance with the code of conduct. You need to regularly assess trainers' adherence to the code. You need to provide feedback and support and address violations. This is an example of a code of conduct. This is an example of the things that are important for your company to have. Recap of this task. So we're done with module 5, and I'm going to leave question and answers, right? Whatever question you have, note it down because it's very long, and we have other participants today giving their trainings. But please write it down and make it available to me, or we could put it in a chat. So what are the key takeaways? Number 1, ethics and code of conduct are essential in training to maintain professionalism and create a safe learning environment. Number 2, trainers should be aware of the ethical guidelines and handle ethical dilemmas effectively. And developing and following a code of conduct promotes ethical behavior and accountability. So these are the quick takeaways of everything that we talked about. Now we're going to move to module 6, which are the prerequisites. So a prerequisite is the knowledge and the skills or the qualifications that are required for participants to successfully engage in a training program. So if you are let me give you an example. Okay, a coffee company, right? So like I talked to you about that. If I am going to request that every single one of my trainees already comes with training, that they already know how to make a coffee or they understand what coffee is, then I need to make sure that they probably have worked previously in a coffee house. I will decide if it's a prerequisite that you have experience or not. You know, the company needs to decide. If you just accept people because they have great personalities, you know that you'll have to train them. You will have an amazing team of people that have great attitude. But if you are a quick company that needs to hurry up and get people out there, you may want people that have already been experienced. They may come with whatever they learned incorrectly somewhere else. It's your job to fix it. But if you're clear, you won't have an issue. So think about this. You know, an accountant cannot just go and work in an office if they're looking for an accountant. He's already have to, or she's going to need the experience and knowledge and the skills in order to understand what's going to happen in the training program. So understanding and addressing prerequisites is essential for designing effective training programs and ensuring that participants have the necessary foundation to benefit the training. Excuse me. So number one, the importance of pre-training ensures participant readiness, and you want to make sure that the prerequisite helps ensure that these are adequately prepared to understand where you're going to be training. Because if they're not adequately prepared, no matter how clear you are, they're not going to understand. You would have to change your training module in order to address a team of people that is not already experienced or doesn't already have a skill set. Also, when you know what the prerequisites are for your training, it will maximize the learning outcome, what I just explained. So you establish what the prerequisite is. I need you to already know about coffee. If I have to teach you about coffee, I'm going to make everybody else on the team waste time. Or if you don't know, no matter how much I try to do this quickly, I may never be able to help you. Now, that doesn't mean that we can create exceptions, but prerequisites are so important because we need to make sure that we maximize the learning outcome for everybody participating. It also helps us save time and resources. A prerequisite will help trainers avoid spending time on basic things. If they already have the skills, you don't have to reteach it. They already know it. It enhances participant engagement. When a participant has the necessary prerequisites, they already know, they're already active in the endeavor. They already know what they're talking about. They can follow along what you're saying very easily, and they can actually contribute to the discussion, and they can apply that to other people's experience. And their existing knowledge will only make for a better training experience. But again, we need to establish prerequisites. So what is the definition of the prerequisite? A prerequisite refers to the knowledge, the skills, and the qualification that participants must possess before enrolling in a specific training program. These prerequisites serve as a foundation for the training and ensure that participants have the necessary background to fully engage and benefit. If you've taken an Excel course, if you have taken a coding course, if you don't know Python, if you don't know JavaScript, if you don't know anything that you were supposed to take prior, when they're talking coding, you will not understand because that is a language. You know, so you need to have some type of understanding, unless it's a coding class for learners, for beginners, then it's different. But you need to make sure that we understand what we need. So examples of a prerequisite can include basic computer literacy skills for a software training program, prior experience in customer service for a customer service training workshop, a certain level of proficiency in a specific language for a language learning course. These are just some examples of what you can actually request as a prerequisite. Identifying and communicating the prerequisites. Number one, we need to identify what is it that as a trainer, I'm going to need to identify as a knowledge or skill or qualification that is going to help me enroll the right people in my training program. And how do I do this? We can probably do this with assessments, surveys, or discussions with stakeholders. We need to make sure that we know exactly what we're looking for. So we need to identify what those prerequisites are going to be. Communicate prerequisites clearly. Trainers should clearly communicate what they're going to need from their potential participants. This can be done through a training program description, registration form, or direct communication. You can actually call them hi, I have you on my list of trainees. You're going to be participating. I want to just double check that you know English or you understand English when you read. If you don't, then I can probably accommodate you in another class. But in this one, the prerequisite is that you understand English, or that you speak it. So this is just an example. You need to provide resources for pre-request development. So this means if the participant does not meet the prerequisites, but you still want them because you love their attitude, you love how they learn, trainers can provide resources or recommendations for participants to develop the necessary knowledge or skills. So you have this team of administrative assistants. And there's one particular person that has the right customer service attitude, is very professional, is so punctual, but they lack computer literacy. But you still want to train them because you know that that's going to be an A+ employee in the future. Then you develop something for them, for anybody like that. You know, this exception, this person, this group of people that I love, I want them, but they don't have the prerequisite. So what can I suggest? I suggest that you take the learning class from this school and you give them the information. You already have it in hand. Okay, so this is really, 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 really important, especially nowadays when having good labor is so difficult. Finding good employees is so difficult. Make sure that you also have some cushion to get people that may not have all the prerequisites, but you can help them. So in summary, prerequisites are the knowledge, the skills, or the qualifications required for participants to successfully engage in a training program. They're important because they ensure participant readiness, maximize learning outcomes, they save time and resources, and they enhance participant engagement. Trainers should identify and communicate prerequisites clearly and provide resources for participants to develop the necessary knowledge that they will need for this training. So key topics that we need to address: identify prerequisites for training programs, conduct a needs assessment to determine the required prerequisite, consult subject matter experts and stakeholders for input, assessing participants' prerequisites, using pre-training assessments to evaluate participants' existing knowledge, and identify any gaps or areas for improvement. So this is identifying prerequisites for training programs. How do you identify this? And you're going to do this: conduct a needs assessment, consult subject matter with experts, assess participants' prerequisites, use pre-training assessments, and also identify any gaps. So how do we address prerequisite gaps? So we provide prerequisites gaps is, I love this person, but they don't have this. So we provide resources or recommendations for participants to develop the necessary skills. We offer pre-training materials. We clearly communicate prerequisites to the participants. Maybe they just didn't understand. Maybe if I explained it differently, they'll understand that even if they don't speak English and they understand, they can still work here. Clearly communicate these prerequisites in training programs, in registration forms, or direct communication, and manage expectations and ensure that the participants are aware of the requirements before committing to the training, because it wastes your money and the company's. Okay, so they were not clear. You give them an entire 2 days, and at the end you say, I need that everybody here has a certification saying that they took an Excel course. And after the entire 2 days and all your effort and that person's effort and the company's resources, the person doesn't have one. You can't hire them, and you just wasted everybody's time. So we need to make sure that the requirements are explained prior and very clearly. So how do we adjust the training program based on prerequisites? We design training programs that build upon participants' existing knowledge and skills. So you put a group together that has prior experience. You put a group together that speaks English. You put a group together that is new, has never done this before. And that way you can actually address your training program to them. Tailor the content and delivery of methods to match what the prerequisites of these participants have. Everybody here speaks English, but we are in France. So I'm going to conduct the training in English, even though I'm in France, because everybody understands. But if you have half and half, that's not going to work for you. Monitoring and evaluating prerequisite effectiveness. So you know what those are. I want them to come in knowing this. But maybe that doesn't really help you. So you may need to reassess, just like a code of conduct. You're going to revise and reevaluate. You need to assess the impact of the prerequisites you're asking. If knowing English is so important, make sure that you're using that, because if you're in France and you're expecting them to know English and everything that you do is in French and you don't allow them to speak English and you don't allow them to talk to people in English, then why are you requesting it? Right? So we need to make sure that what we're asking is actually valuable. And we need to gather feedback from participants and stakeholders to continuously improve. Many times we don't want feedback because we don't want to hear if they liked it or not. We don't want somebody to give us criticism. The only way that we can step up to a challenge and the only way that we can address any gap is by finding out that it exists in the first place. So always continuously improve, ask for it. What did we do? Is this working for us? Is this working? Did you feel comfortable? Did you understand? This is how we address these gaps. By addressing prerequisites in training, trainers can ensure that participants have the necessary foundation to engage in a training program effectively. If every single person in your training understands English, when you give the test, every person will be able to take it. But if you're giving a test in English, and again, half is French and the other one doesn't speak the language, you're not really allowing all of them to participate fully. So again, you need to really address what these prerequisites are so everybody can enjoy and learn. This leads to more meaningful and impactful learning experiences and maximizes the overall training outcome. So how do we prepare participants for training? I want you to really look at this. You can take a picture of it if you can. Number one, this is very simple. You address the prerequisites gap. Think, okay, so if I get somebody here that's really great but doesn't have this, what will I do? You already have that ready. Provide pre-training resources or materials to bridge the gaps. So I found out before that you don't have the Excel certification. So I'm sending you 3 options where you can go get it, and you need it by this date, so you're ready for my training. You offer additional training or support for participants who need it. You say, I want the best of the best, so I am going to make sure that they have additional support. You provide additional resources and support. You share relevant reading materials, online resources, or tutorials. You're teaching makeup, right? You are a cosmetics company and you are training makeup artists. You can say, I want you to go to this social media site and you will find again and again different cases, or you can read, or you can look at this magazine. So we need to make sure that we are so privy and we all know what involves our industry or what we're trying to teach, so we can actually help and share relevant information and offer mentoring or coaching. It doesn't have to be you. It doesn't have to be you. You can definitely offer mentorship through somebody else. Somebody in the company loves mentoring. They're really good at Excel. So although I am not going to be doing the mentoring, I'm going to let my participants know that we have somebody that can mentor them in that area. So think about that, right? And these are all things that you bring to the table as a global trainer. Conducting the pre-training assessment. So how do we pre-train? How do we assess, before we actually start the training? So we administer assessments or surveys to identify participants' existing knowledge and skills. That you can send via email, you can send via messenger or DM, you can actually send it in the mail if that's going to work for you. But you administer these assessments prior. So that's why it's called pre-training, right? Before, not while they're sitting there, before, unless it's part of the training. Use the assessment results to tailor the training content. So you found out that 80% of your people are very, very computer literate. Actually, they're very advanced. So you don't have to teach the basics. What you can do is the 2 people that are basic, You are going to send them some information and say, go get certified with this. And when they actually join your training class, they're going to be at the same level as everybody else. And you tailor then that training content to the knowledge and the skills that they already have. You offer pre-training workshops. So you've never done this before. I'm going to offer 2 weeks of pre-training before we actually start the real training. So when you arrive, you're ready. Provide these sessions can help participants build a foundation before actually taking the training program. I am a true believer in doing the pre-training. My organization in Puerto Rico just opened a chapter in Peru. My entrepreneurs in Puerto Rico are at a certain level of education and training. My entrepreneurs in Peru are not. Yeah, first of all, they don't speak English. They don't speak another language. The majority of them don't have a computer. The majority of them don't have electricity or Wi-Fi. So I had to create opportunities for them to train, to meet. So I created something prior. So when I finally gave them a 14-week training on really developing an entrepreneurial program, and really being formalized and learning business acumen, they were ready. If I had said, okay, everybody meet up, and I know that they don't even have a device, that they don't have electricity in their home, and that they don't have Wi-Fi, then I'm shooting myself in the foot because they would never be able to participate. So what did I do? And this is where I found a place where they can come before and meet up and learn certain parts of the language that I'm going to be using. The jargon, the special entrepreneurial language that they probably don't have. I also have a place with Wi-Fi. So you don't have Wi-Fi in your home because it's not in your community, but you can use Wi-Fi here because I was training from Puerto Rico like I am right now. I'm in Florida and I'm training you and you're in different parts of the world. So I made sure that I did my pre-training assessment so they were successful. And we started with 130 and we ended with 128. Only 2 people did not finish 14 weeks of training. Why? Because we prepared for them and we helped them prepare better. That is so important. Providing pre-training materials and resources. You develop and distribute pre-training materials such as reading materials, videos, and online. So you already have a set thing that you're going to do in order to prep your trainees so they have the prerequisites necessary for your training program. These resources can help participants familiarize themselves with the training topics and the concepts in advance. You offer pre-training support. If you need anything, please write an email to info@internationalinternshipuniversity.com and we will answer all. That's just an example. Provide opportunities for participants to ask questions or seek clarification. Offer support channels such as email, discussion forums, or virtual office hours for participants to be able to access you or your team. Remember, just because you are the lead doesn't mean you have to do it all. You can delegate. You can have a team of people that are going to help you with this. Facilitating peer-to-peer learning. And I have to say, this is probably the most fun way to learn. It also really creates community, and creating community will make sure that you are never abandoned, that people actually stay with you. Encourage participants to connect with each other before the training program starts. So you have 22 people in your training program. You ask everyone if it's okay to share their emails. You send them all an email and you set up a room. It could be in a Facebook room, it could be a Zoom. And that day we all meet virtually and we all get to know each other, what we do, who we are, where we're from, what our key issues are, all that stuff. And that creates online communities. And online communities are so important because no matter where you live, you feel connected. And especially now that there's so much remote work, I can be working in Croatia for a company there, and I'm in the US because the technology allows me. But that does not mean that I am not going to live by their rules because they're the ones who are providing the training for me. So if I can actually meet prior and get to know the culture and a little bit more, then I'm going to be in a better situation. So creating online communities is very important, or discussion. We're preparing participants for training through pre-training assessments, workshops, materials, and support. Trainers can ensure, which is you can ensure that participants have the necessary knowledge and the skills to fully engage in the training program. Again, this is only going to help you as a global trainer. When you prepare participants and you give them the pre-training assessments, you create an opportunity so they can come prepared. You do the workshops, you create the materials, and you support them. You are going to be so successful at really training the best of the best. And that is what's going to separate you from any other global trainer around the world, is how you prepare the ground, the fertile ground for your trainees to say, wow, Stella is amazing. Amy is just the greatest corporate trainer I've ever had. You know why? Because you already did your homework and you helped them look good. So, like I said, when I first started, either we all look good together or we all look bad together. There's no point in you being a superstar, a trainer, and your trainees didn't understand anything. That's terrible. Or, or your trainees all have something negative to say. She doesn't listen. She doesn't care, or he doesn't care. He thinks he knows it all. He doesn't allow questions. He doesn't really answer the questions. So we need to make sure that we are totally understanding so we have the desired outcome, which is a great training program. So what are the prerequisite assessment tools? What tools can we use? And these are some examples. This is not everything. Knowledge quizzes or tests. You can get skill demonstrations or simulations. You can do pre-training surveys or questionnaires. You can use technology for prerequisite assessment. Online assessments or self-paced modules. So you can send them 3 modules of something leading up to what you're going to be training and say, this is on your time. You have 3 weeks to learn. Please read it, answer this little quiz, and then you'll know if you're understanding or not. Online assessments and virtual simulations or interactive exercises. So we are a company that builds vacuum cleaners. You can probably have a pre-training session where you show how easy it is to take the bag out and put a new bag in. So everybody said, wow, I want to sell this vacuum cleaner because it's so simple. So you're actually making your trainee a future client. You're giving them the tools. You're allowing them to get to know you better. And you're going to have a better reception when it's your time to actually train them. So if you do a virtual simulation, that is great. They'll be able to see things online in real time. You can do online things. Remember, the difference between virtual and online. Virtual is in the moment. We're talking right now. Once this is recorded, and the person that wasn't able to join today, we send it to them. It's an online reinforcement because it's online, it's using technology, but it's not happening in the moment. So what are knowledge quizzes and tests? I don't think I have to explain this very much. These are assessments that evaluates participants' understanding of specific concepts or topics. And it could be 5 questions. It could be, a very short answer question. Number 2, skill demonstrations or simulations. These are assessments that will let you know if the participants has practical skills and abilities related to the training. Virginia, tell me, how do you sell this plate of food? You show them what it is. What will you say? So you're just giving, this is not a pass or fail. You just want them to start feeling more comfortable. Participants may be required to perform tasks or demonstrate their proficiency in specific skills. Pre-training surveys or questionnaires. These assessments gather information about the participant's background, experience, and existing knowledge or skill. For example, what you heard about me today does not really include, and all that information that Dr. Ravi so graciously read about me did not include that I've been a global trainer, a corporate trainer, that I have worked with corporations really creating products that I created and taught them. So I had to do all this pre-assessment to make sure that my colleagues were going to be ready to receive what I had made up, what I had invented, but now you know a little bit more. So many times we need to be very specific of what we need to know about our people that we're going to be training, because they could actually be great help. Examples, again, knowledge quiz, like I said before, could be a multiple choice that quizzes the test participants' understanding of fundamental concepts. It could be skill demonstration, we talked about that, or pre-training survey. What do you already know? Using technology for your prerequisite assessment. Online assessments or self-paced modules. You can give them an online, say here, you can go to this link, and the participant can complete the assessment or the interactive module on their own time, whenever they want. You give them a deadline, it has to be ready. Virtual simulations or interactive exercise. Technology can be used to create a virtual simulation of something. You do these steps, and you can actually do with animation, with little videos. There's so much that you can do virtually, that makes it interactive. And by using a prerequisite assessment tool, that could be a poll, it could be anything that we use to gather data or information from our people. So how do we monitor and make sure that this is the correct thing? So we track our participants' progress. How? Regularly assessing their participation progress in a meeting. We provide feedback and guidance for improvement. We adjust training programs to make sure that the gaps are being met. We modify the training content or delivery based on their needs, not the previous group's needs, but on this group's needs. Offer additional support or resources as necessary. And how do we gather feedback from these participants? We conduct surveys or interviews. And many times we don't even want to hear the feedback. I'm telling you, feedback is the only way that you're going to improve. So you conduct a survey or an interview to gather feedback of these people that you just trained. And you can ask the participants at the end, before we leave today, please fill out this questionnaire. It's an assessment. If it says that you were not that great, don't feel bad. You can only get better. Analyzing the training outcomes. You evaluate everything that you got, and you're like, wow, they learned this better than this. So you know what? Maybe I need to improve this area, or maybe it can eliminate it and maybe explain everything this way. They like it better this way. This is just something that you start getting once you get data and once you do assessments, you start to get information and you can create better programs. This global trainers program, at the end, give us feedback. We want to know how we did, and this is really great because you can say, Virginia talks too much. Maybe Virginia needs to use less slides. I'm not going to feel bad. Please say that. And then I will use less slides, and maybe I will speak slower, or maybe I will speak clearer, or maybe I won't move my hands so much. Whatever it is, just give feedback. Feedback is good. Compare the performance of participants who met the prerequisites with those who did not. They're not losers. If you have 30 people that started, 15 finished, and 15 did not. Please don't think that the ones that did not are losers or they just didn't care. There's got to be a reason. Maybe they didn't understand the language. Maybe technologically they don't know. We need to find out more so we can get that. And how do you adjust this? Use the feedback and evaluation to make adjustments and be better. You provide ongoing support. The people that left, make sure that they have a number. If you don't understand something, you can always go back to this. Offer ongoing support so they know where to go. Continuous improvement. Continuously need to review your program. If you're a global trainer, you need to make sure that your prerequisites are the correct ones. If not, change them. You need to regularly update and refine your prerequisite requirements. Maybe writing in cursive is no longer a prerequisite because we're doing everything online. So why do I care if this person writes all together or not? It doesn't really matter to me because I don't need that anymore. By monitoring and evaluating these prerequisites, trainers can gather valuable feedback and data to inform future training programs and improve the effectiveness of asking for the prerequisite. Why would you pay somebody? Why would you ask somebody to take an Excel course and pay for it if you're not going to use Excel and you have a completely different software? You just made them spend $100 or $120 and something and time. So re-examine, reevaluate. You got a brand new system. It's called SAP. You don't really need this anymore. Why make them pay for that? Why have to explain Excel when you already have something else? So we're always evaluating. So what are the key takeaways from this module? Prerequisites are important for ensuring participants' readiness for training. It assesses and addresses the prerequisite gaps. Where are my trainees? Are they here? Are they here? What do they need? So I can actually give them the support they need. And to monitor participants' progress and adjusting the training based on what we asked them. Is it still crucial? Do they still need it? Are they using that? In conclusion, a code of conduct and ethics and prerequisites will play a crucial role in training programs by ensuring that your participant is ready, maximizes learning outcomes, saves time and resources, and enhances participant engagement, assuring that they're treated with respect, that they maintain confidentiality, that they avoid conflicts of interest, and use inclusive language. By identifying and addressing prerequisites and maybe your code of conduct, trainers can design more effectively and target training programs that build upon participants' existing knowledge and skills. A clear communication of what you really need, of what prerequisite I really need, and providing the resources for this development is essential for ensuring that your participants have the necessary foundation to fully engage in your training. When we monitor and we evaluate the effectiveness of what we're asking our people, we allow trainers to continuously improve the process and engage in any gap address that you need to do. Like I said, you may have a group of 30. We're not all on the same level, but the majority of us all know this. It's different that we have 30 and I have some that are just beginning and some that are way advanced, and there's a huge gap. Somebody's going to stay behind or somebody's going to be very bored. So remember my story when I first started. My teachers at first complained she talks too much. She doesn't pay attention. And then they understood why. And then they gave me something to do so I could be successful with them. Same thing here. Address your participants. As a global trainer, you're going to be addressing many participants around the world. Not everybody learns the same. So make sure that you are so clear of every single person in your group so you can address them correctly. So thank you so much for all your attention. You've been great. If you have any questions, please address them to me. I know that Snigdha will make sure that I get them. I think that these are two important topics. They're usually not the most fun, but they are key to make sure that what we do as global trainers is, in fact, the job that we are required to have. So thank you, and Malid, thank you. So I'm done, and I hope that if there's anything else that you need from me, please don't hesitate to write to me or write to Snigdha, and I'm sure she'll get that information out. Thank you, and have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Virginia. It was a great session, which was filled with a lot of insights and a lot of learnings. In fact, I really loved the processes that need to be practiced by the trainers, which has been being reiterated for the last 3 days, and which is elaborated in today's session. It was really nice.
Yes, Ravi sir,
and
indeed, it was a very in-depth learning, very descriptive, right? I think all the participants need to go through the recording once again to understand it, because we all, even I myself is in the thought process. There are so many things to be learned and understood, right? So anyways, that was indeed a great, thank you, Dr. Virginia, for sparing your valuable time. Indeed, it was a great session. Any participants, any questions? Or today we have our dear Professor Nada with us. I think she does not need any kind of introduction. She is our strong support. She is our trainer. And due to some reason, she could not take up her session yesterday, but she insisted she'll be there today. And it's really, Nada, we missed you for these 4 days, right? Otherwise, I think it's the first time I'm conducting any session without you. So you are requested, the platform is all yours. If you can put in your insights, then again Ravi sir will take over. Before we start, I will introduce you a little bit. I introduced you yesterday, rather you were not there. Professor Nada, she is from Croatia. She is our IIU Croatia country director. She is the president of IIU Research Center. She is the co-founder of IIU Europe. Her profile, if I wanted to read, it's of pages and pages. She is highly qualified, experienced, and she is having many national, international awards. If you will just on the Facebook or any virtual platform, I think there will be very rare places where you will not see Professor Nada. Professor Nada is everywhere. She is sharing her expertise voluntarily on all the platforms, and she is the best. No other. And yes, she's my best friend as well. A good person, a good human being who always supports us. So, stage is all yours. Ravi sir, you would like to add on something?
No, nothing much, because you already told almost everything, and almost all the participants, excepting a couple, does know about Professor Nada as well.
Yes, I think Singapore participants are
Yeah,
not
Singapore
very much
participants.
aware, but otherwise, Dr. Calderon, Professor Charles, everybody, they are
Yeah,
laughing.
Raymonds,
I could know.
Fernandez,
She
all
doesn't need
know
any
very
kind
well.
of introduction as such, right?
Right.
Thank you. Please, Nada.
It's a powerful lady,
Okay.
a powerful lady with a difference. Powerful.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Snigdha. Thank you, Dr. Ravi. Thank you, our great Vice Chancellor, for this kind words. I want to say first that I apologize. I really couldn't be here, and also now it's very hard to me to sit because I have an accident. I broke my leg. So still with a blue eye, but my heart couldn't be without this. So I need to say something today at the end of this session. I go through the videos. It was really great 3 days. Dr. Ravi, you make it wonderful. Dr. Srividya and Dr. Victoria. I'm sure that the participants are really satisfied with this. And as Dr. Snigdha said, it is very important to go again through all the videos because all we trainers are a little bit different. We have we all explain the things on the different way. So to understand all these models, and there are a lot of models in these 4 days, it is really necessary to go through all of this. Let me see. Dr. Snigdha, can I share my screen?
Yes,
Dr.
you
Snigdha.
can.
Okay. So let me go little through. Maybe we can go like example through model 4. A little bit about tackling the challenges. Yesterday we talked about the SMART goals. Every day is a challenge. Also, when our participants finish today this training, they will have different things, changes to make. So when we want to be a trainer, for a trainer, it is really important always to, as our titles say, explore, learn, empower. So we need to know the culture. There are differences between all the cultures, and we have the language barriers. So we can say that we are lucky because all our trainings are on the English. So we all from the global level are communicating by the English. Then we know that we have the time constraint. We have also the network, which can be a problem. So Dr. Virginia talked about the persistency and how to understand the type of audience participants, because today here, all of our audience is different. Nobody, each one person is unique. So how to make, so today we have artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence is giving opportunity to make a personalized learning. So one day maybe we can also at IIU make this and have the trainings on like one-to-one, like learning the languages or something. So now we are handling this and we have this learner. So I can say, and I started that we have these challenges.
Hello,
So,
ma'am.
so Professor Nada will say, it's not that I'm so smart, but maybe I can say,
Yeah, really true. I was also
okay.
I was also surprised because she completed the whole time. Yeah, amazing. It was really amazing.
Okay, Dr. Ravi, please, I need, can you, Dr.
PPT
Snigdha, can you
also.
mute Dr. Ravi? Dr.
Yeah,
Snigdha, please mute Dr. Ravi.
yeah,
I can't.
correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right, right.
Dr. Ravi, please stop
That's true.
talking. Dr.
Yeah, of course,
Ravi,
that's true.
uh,
Yeah. See, that is what it happens, ma'am. Ki people doesn't want to talk about what they get. They just want to
Dr.
criticize about what
Ravi,
they didn't get,
please. Dr.
isn't it?
Snigdha, can you mute him?
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't there because I was in the middle of a session. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yes.
Dr. Ravi,
Okay. Whoa, my goodness. Uh-huh. But we could, yes, no, we can see the pain in her face. No, that's what I also thought she would just speak for a couple of minutes. Yes, sure. Yeah, sure, ma'am, sure. Yeah, she has fine.
I don't have an option
Yeah.
to mute him.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Dr. Ravi, can you mute yourself? I stopped because you were talking.
Yeah. Sorry for the inconvenience. You can again start. Sorry.
Is it visible? Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I start with these challenges and I say it's not that Professor Nada is so smart, but maybe I can know to stay with my problems longer. So you see here how we are fighting with this mountain and our life is really a mountain and how to climb with this. So we need to understand our problems. And if we have the problems, we always need to break them into the small steps. So when we get clear, we can do that. So we need to have the data, we need to collect the data, and we need to always step back. So this is very important. So we need to know also what is the difference between mentoring and training, and it is not the same. So if I say training, we are on the we want to be the trainers, and many of our participants were already mentors. So mentor is always involved in someone kind of knowledge attitude, but at training, the trainers always have to meet the learning objectives. So what is the quality of good trainer today? you need to have these qualities. You need to work on these hard skills, on these soft skills. So this is very important. Communication, talking about verbal communication, non-verbal communication, then subject. If we have defined subject, we need to have the knowledge about that subject. So if we are not prepared, if we don't have that knowledge, everybody will recognize that we are not good in giving that lecture or in that workshop. Then we need to know to be a good team worker. So we need to know how to handle our teams, how to make them. So focusing always on our goals, making the trainings, making this and delivering our knowledge. So if we want to be a quality trainer, we need to know also how to manage the time and be very patient, because in each one moment, our participants can stop us, because if they don't understand us, we didn't make nothing. So we need to be very understandable. We need to talk with a very simple language. So we cannot use the terms who are not understandable. If we use some terms, we need to give the explanation what it means and what it is. So the trainings always make this identification. So there is a big question. Will we be a good trainer? Are we capable to do this work? So you can be an entrepreneur, but maybe you don't have enough knowledge. So you are thinking that you know everything, but we don't see that, we don't feel that. So every time when we have somebody in front of us and somebody who is talking to us and trying to explain something to us, we always recognize the knowledge. So recognize the knowledge, recognize the skills. That is very important to have. I said at the beginning, cultural differences. Yes, cultural differences. I'm coming from Croatia. Dr. Noli is from the Philippines. And when we communicate, we always say, Mabuhay, Mabuhay. And he send greetings to me on Croatia. So we know that we have the differences, but we try to manage this. So we are conducting this, we give this, we have the believing, and we want to know the behavior. So if I plan to visit a country and if I have a business meeting and if I want to give training to like example to people from Bangladesh, to people from Asia or America, I need to learn about this, about their culture. So this is like a psychotherapy. So you see here how the people are thinking in America, in Africa. So Professor Charles is from Nigeria, and I can say that Professor Charles and Professor Nada has a very similar culture, because I see that we have the same religion, we have so many similar things. So that is very important to know about this. And you see here that what the researchers show, culture and mental health have a complex relationship. What it means, because there are some diagnoses of the treatment and care. So we need to have access, we need to show the differences between the depression. So it's not the same when somebody is anxiety, is depressed from. So we are trying to solve it on the different ways. So cultural difference and mental health are in a correlation. If we talk about the workplace, we have this. First is we know that we have different religions. Then education, it is not, maybe we are not all on the same level of the education. Then we have this main generous differences. So how to manage these differences? So there are a lot of tactics to learn how to manage this. So first we need to be educated. educated about this, and that means that we need to have this sensitive, cultural sensitive. Then we need to understand the ethics rule, how the ethics is conducted. So we need to have a different calendar, diversity calendar, and use this to make this so teams have the mission. So in this way, we need to practice open communication. So during this, we need to have these case studies, different scenarios, make the workshop. So then we can acknowledge the differences. So we need also dressing. What is about the dressing? So it's not the same dressing here in my country, the culture of the dressing, this or somewhere here. So we need to know first these cultural differences need to be managed. So for every business, it is very important. The values, the meanings, and things. Then global branding. What is global branding? This is a big trend. This is a big trend in the business. So if we don't learn about this culture, and if we don't know, and if we are not aware about cross-cultural differences, then how can we develop a company? So we can have company in India, a company in Europe, in America, everywhere. So it really needs to be, we need to learn about this to know what are the differences between the companies. So we also have the language barriers. So talking about this, we have this, and it is great. It is great that we can all talk on the English, so we can understand each other. I don't know the Filipinos, or I don't know Hindu, but I know the English, so it is great that we can conduct all on this English, and the language barriers cannot stop us in the business, and they don't need to break anything there. So misunderstanding. So there we can have these misunderstandings, but we need to know how to manage them, how to lead them. So then we have conflicts, frustration, violence, not to waste the time, the money. So this is all here to break down these language barriers. So the barriers for communication, see here on different hello, hola, ciao, bonjour. So this cannot be a barrier for communication. So physical barriers, emotional, cultural, language, gender, interpersonal, break. We all need to train this. We need to train a lot and learn a lot about this, because gender barriers, we are talking about the equality between a man and a woman, but we know it is not everywhere there. We have such a lot of problems with this gender. So women maybe can women in some countries, like I don't know, I would say maybe in Tanzania cannot work some make some jobs like a woman in Switzerland or something like that. Then we have this harsh language. We need to learn how to control the harsh language. So what are the tips? The tips are, I apologize. I have a little bit in my house because I'm in a space here where others are. So the control harsh languages. The first tip is we need to watch our own language. Then the second is use the right terminology for body parts. So this harsh language is so we can make this like a learning opportunity. Then what about the family values? So how to understand the situation. So these tips are about the controlling the language, and we need to decide what I apologize that I stopped. So here we have this self-aware and the plan. So first thing is that we need to recognize why you want to stop. Then we need to notice when it is. Then we need to enlist this, and then we need to then we can make this brainstorming. Again, we have this deadlines, so we need to establish the deadlines. We need always to have a schedule. Then we need to break the project into the stages. So focusing, creating the blocks, getting the help, and always we need to reward ourselves. So this is the meaning that we need to reward ourselves. After that is to making the acceleration for the animation. So how to meet the deadlines, how to do this, and how to be capable for the job. So let us think about this. We need always to be very creative, imagination, and the patience, technical expertise, and other things. What about the time constraint? Time constraint is very important. So this is the term that we need to define different factors that are limited the projects in the term. So we have the deadlines, we have this management, we have this allocation. So anyone needs to work on this project to make this. So time like a barrier, is it the same to talk about the quality and the quantity of the time? So I put this example. Uh, I do not extend to give way during my speech because of the time constraint. I am well aware of the time constraint on all of us, so it would be a great pity if they had to be rushed through under a time constraint. So we have this. Another thing is the instability of the network. So there are different numbers and reasons for this connection, and it can be here, and we need to have this issue. So a software issue for the both things. So this Wi-Fi, if we have an unstable Wi-Fi, it can make. So if we have the unstable Wi-Fi, it can be caused with different wireless interferences. So what the meaning of the unstable Wi-Fi? So like other knowledge, we need to have this technical knowledge. So technical knowledge is very important because you see here we have this trainings. You want to be a trainer, so we need to manage, we need to fix, we need to know how to fix, like example, an unstable Wi-Fi connection. So I put here the few steps, like example, we need to download and install the Wi-Fi Analyze app. We need to know how to detect unstable Wi-Fi and how to change the router's channel. This is very important if we have an unstable Wi-Fi. So you see here, I said different skills. So hard skills, soft skills, and also a technical knowledge. Persistency is also a key to the success. So what it means, what is the difference between persistency and persistence, and how can we use this in the sense? So this is a key to the success. If you want to, we can make a failure, we can become more resilient, we can learn. So if we want to become an expert, so we need to motivate. We always need to be a motivation, and if we are motivating, that means that we will work harder. So persistence is an act of working hard, and we are trying again and again. You know how many times, like example, before a few days, I was making some chat bots, so it is really hard. So sometimes you need to repeat so many actions. But if we have this persistence, like an act of working hard, and if we want to be successful, it will not be a problem for us. So this is giving always to us opportunity to learn. Then we have this, and we need to know always who is our audience, who are our participants. So we have we have different types of the audience. Some of our audience will be friendly, some are apathetic. Then we have the hostile, and we have some who are uninformed. So we always need to educate us before we start with the trainings. We need to know to make a difference between our audience. So each one, as I said, is unique and special. Then if we have the adolescent learners, so how to handle this, how to learn with this, so we can talk with adult. We can remember we need to be proactive. We need to encourage them. So this is very important. So you see here, Professor Nada. Professor Nada is always rewarding her students. So this here we go to the pizza, we go to the dinner, we go to the journey. Every time I reward my students for the great work. So that is a great way for motivating them. So as a trainer, we also need to know how to motivate our audience and our participants. So self-concept is also very important, and we have here this that we want to put this in our learning, different experiences, different learning experience. So then readiness to learn, orientation to learn, motivation to learn. So it is a difference between adult learners. So adult learners are always ready to learn. And when the people are getting older, they also want to learn. So, my father is old, but he's still learning. So he still has a big motivation to learn. I always say that the older people comes like the children. So what does Piaget? We have this Piaget, who is, according to him, we have this operations, and it is talking about adolescent learners think, express, and reflect. This is very important because we have some types of limitations, and when we want to develop some things, we have this manners. So for the learners, strategy is very important. Then questioning. So what about the critical thinking and critical literacy and voice identity? So this is thing we need to learn about this Piaget. Piaget is remarkable because he is moving this. I want to also a little go through, because I'm at the end, the last, and I want to just a moment. Uh, mm, a little go through this goals, because this is very important for us. Setting the SMART goals. So mm, okay, I want to go on this a little bit. So everything what we are doing and what we are thinking depends about our mindset. So it is our decision. Will we have the growth mindset or the fixed mindset? So if we are talking about the growth mindset, then we will always learn. We will prioritize the learning. So we can make this, and we can add these phrases like not yet. if we have this, so let us go through these differences. So what is important for the growth mindset and what about the fixed mindset? So people with a growth mindset is always focused on the effort. This is important. So you need to highlight, you need to try different strategies. So this is very important. Then people with a fixed mindset love being complimented for their intelligence or talent. So if people are having this growth mindset, then there is ability to learn to grow. And this is very important. So third thing is people with a fixed mindset don't deal with a failure well. So not having this fixed mindset. So we need to always work on the growing mindset. Then people with a growth mindset love trying new things, and this is very important. So this is why I just want to say and to emphasize this about the mindset. Think always to make your mindset grow and tend to be always to not only oriented to the results. So you need to embrace feedback. So what it means embrace a feedback, someone who has this mindset will always have a constructive feedback. So it is an opportunity for growing, constructive. Never make this mindset to the risk. So you need to always deepen your subject expertise. So feedback loops, zero sum, correlation, and the causation. This map territory relation. Think about your skills. Always improve your skills. This were in 2023, but I didn't change. It is same in 2024. So proficiency, creativity, self-growth ability, encouraging leadership, collaborative negotiations, data literacy, and cloud computing. We are living in the fifth era, in the fifth digital era, where artificial intelligence is in every pore of our life. So this means that our trainings will also be different, not on this way. So you to be a great trainer after this today, you really need to have this case skills. You need to listen in order to understand. You need to make your questions clarify. You need to make actions which will plan to your future. Then there are different solutions. You need to develop your own skills, make your ways of thinking, how to think, because I say we are all unique. So self-awareness, business performance. And this is important. Active listening, empathy, understanding, questioning, communication, giving feedback, checking in, goal setting, and enthusiasm. So Professor Nada will say here, dream big, set goals, take action. Five results, reasons, reflections, stressors, and responsibilities. Try to learn to manage yourself, learn to work with others, create a change. We have the SMART goals, the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. So take care about the ethics. Take care about the ethics and morals. So code of ethics is always a set of rules that have the principles which are designed to encourage the conduct among a group of professionals. You need to know take care about this code of ethics. Every organization have its ethics rule. So this is very important. So make a code of conduct and code of ethics it's different. So here it is different because you see code of ethics is a set of principles based on values and morals, but code of conduct is a set of rules. So here we have values, morals. On the other side, we have the set of rules and regulations. Then ethics has explained us how decisions are made. Act, conduct is how employees must act. So will we focus on the values or will we focus on the rules and compliance? So this is the scope. First is the narrower scope, the other is a broader scope. And if we talk about the ethics, we have the disclosed publicly. At the other side, we have the employees. So this code of conduct is important. So set these rules in a place where your employees and other stakeholders can reference to the performance of the position. Code of ethics. So this is like example, protecting one of this is company. This is the company's constitution, and it has the general principles, how to help the people, how to help your employees about the behavior. So what is right, what is wrong? Here we have always in every situation, we have a dilemmas, we have the debatable situations, and this code of ethics will always help us guiding us and making us to have and to bring a correct decision. So ethical organizations are better. Ethical and compliant organizations are one that can set themselves, so making them successful and like a driver of the strategy. So smart, fast, efficient ethics reporting and case management. Always create this culture of trust and respect. Protect the identity of your employees. Make this process very powerful and help your organization with these regulations. So, Professor Nada, this was said, integrity. Dr. Snikta, I think that I will stop. Yes, understand your audience. I said this already. So think always who will listen, who will read, who will make this, how to know your audience. That this is what I said in the presentation before, that we always need to recognize our audience. And in the future, try to make a personalized training for them. So this is how we can do this, review the data, conduct surveys, keep an eyes on our competitors. We know what is the trade, a place where the supply and demand is meeting. So who are our competitors and how to make a constructive feedback. Choose the right time and place. Never be catched in this golden cage. This is especially for the youth today. They got a lot of the youth today get great job, work 24 hours, but it is very shortly time, and don't give nobody to catch you in this golden cage, because there is no money. Nobody can give you the money. How important for you is your freedom, and how you will think and how you will grow and how will you develop yourself. The money is not important. Try to build the trust. And here we have these different barriers, and this golden cage is really a phenomena. So you get a nice salary, you can feel great, you are paid great, but you are under the stress. And we know if we are under the stress, we are getting anxiety, depression, and then also our working abilities are less. So we are bringing to us something, I can say, a negative mood. This is a negative mood. So this is for the one test, and Professor Nada will stop here. I can talk till tomorrow, but and maybe Professor Dr. Ravi, maybe Professor Nada can say something for your part. When I'm already very short. Our Dr. Ravi is really an amazing trainer, and I want to only say a few words about his part, because for me it is very impressive part. He has always needs, requirements, how to be an international trainer, how to understand the role as a trainer, and I always remember his requirements. He has the PET, so each one need to be professional, educated, and trained. Dr. Ravi, am I right?
Yes, very
Then
true. Very true.
Yes, and we need to have the requirements. So qualification, language, public speaking, communication, confidence, soft skills, life skills, and others. So Professor Ravi has a great overview of a trainer. So today we can finish this with his overview of a trainer. So T means trust. R means relevant. A like an architect. I intellectual. N is non-discriminative. E is elevator, and R is relearning. So, like a trainer, we need to be polite. We need to be eager, and then a very unique professional. And Ravi talks about the characteristics. He gave us the Cobb's the Kolb's learning style is very important. So he always say he map, she swap. He talks about the humor. He talks about the empathy, mindfulness, assertiveness, presentation, and other. Sir Ravi, I always adore how you talk about this and how can we make the goal settings? How will we achieve our goal? So we need to try. We need to put a lot of effort. We have that choice. We need to use this choice. So designing things, making the curriculum, and it's time to say thank you so much, everyone. Am I right,
Extremely
Thank you.
Professor
Thank you,
brilliant.
Ravi?
Sue.
Superb. So I always wanted you to be with us, you know. It's you, I think, summarize everything in your presentation, right? And
True
Thank
that.
you. I
thank you so
apologize. You
much.
know, I have a full house here, full family, and so little noise comes, but I'm so sorry.
It's
So,
okay. It's
No, we
okay.
agree. In
We can
spite
always
of
understand.
so many your physical hurdles, issues, you are with us. Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor.
It is really a great to see you here with all the pains in your body, but you feel
yes.
relaxed when you are delivering. That the energy in you, the smile on your face, and the enthusiasm that you show while delivering the training makes you us to feel the pain that you are going through, right? With all
Professor
that pain.
Dr. Ravi, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes,
Enthusiasm, dedication, and hard work
yes,
is equal to nada. I can always
Nada.
say that.
Exactly.
He will be
Exactly.
ready at 1 o'clock in the night also to give the sessions.
Confirm.
Right.
Right.
Great.
That is what I tell again out of the 5 Ds, dedication and devotion. So they are the key factors if you have to set a goal, if you have to achieve something, dedication and devotion. Once you develop the dedication and devotion, automatically you will get into the discipline. Once you are into discipline, you are done with it because your time management is always set right. So thank you so much, Professor Nada, and it was really an
Thank you. Thank you.
amazing session, as always. But today, I felt it more informative and more lot to learn from you today because you are using much more new inputs in the learning, and this was a great session. Actually, I was feeling, in fact, I was missing you for the last 3 days, right? Only later on I came to know what has happened to you, and I really felt sorry for that. Right. Thank you so much. And it was really a wonderful session.
Thank you.
Right. Now, I would love to ask any participants are having any doubts or any questions so that we can clarify it now, or even still, if you feel that you want to put it privately, you can put it on the message in the group that we have created, WhatsApp group. Any of us will 100% answer you. And further, if anything you want to say about the doubts or you want clarifications or anything you need to give a constructive feedback, you're always welcome. Anyone?
I think today all are trying to absorb whatever they have,
Yeah.
very descriptive presentations, and Professor Nada have summarized all the 4 days very promptly. So I think all are just in the thinking process, like how, what, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So that is going on. I think our Vice Chancellor wants to say something. Please, Professor Charles.
Actually, I need to thank God for everything that we have been doing right from 4 days ago now. And Professor Nada actually impressed me. Irrespective of her indisposition, she was able to deliver as usual. I need to appreciate God for her. And I pray that God will give you quick recovery. God will going
Thank
to
you.
give you all the strength you need, all the wisdom you need, all the anointing you need for you to do a sport. I love your challenge. I love you. I admire everything about you. May God going to strengthen you. All the listeners, I appreciate you all. I pray that you come again. I've been having this exercise severally every year. It's so exciting. All the trainers, they are powerful. They are dynamic people. They are excellent. I admire them. I keep on learning because this life we are operating now. We learn every day, and God will keep on giving us the grace to learn. It's good to learn so that we'll be updated. We know what is going on, the strength. As an educator, we need to know what we need to know so as to update our students. May God come to strengthen us as we do that. Our CEO have been trying. I thank God for you. God come to strengthen you and give you that focus that He has been giving you to do the work you are called to do. Thank you very much. Piyush, our star advocate, Piyush Pandit, have been trying so much, giving us this good platform for us to showcase the glory of God. I appreciate him very well. And I appreciate all the trainers. I appreciate our Dr. Kuma. He has been so good. I admire him too much, very much, because of how he delivers things. I make people happy. I love people, make people happy. When you are giving training, you should be able to make people happy, feel as if they're at home, so that they will learn more. Because as we are learning now today, we also go out to empower people too. And it's always good to learn. I appreciate you all. Our Dr. Virginia, I thank God for you. Also, our sister, Dr. The one that gave the lecture yesterday, Su Kuma, she also tried very well. All the trainers, they tried very well. I keep on appreciating God for our togetherness, and we God going to retain it and help us so that SDG 2030 be able to educate many people. I want everybody to be educated. I want people to know so that to avoid any discrimination, any non-ability not to know what you should know. That is why this SDG 230 is so important for everybody to be enlightened, for everybody to know what they should know. This is what we are doing. As we are learning today, let us also go to impart it to other people so other people will know and invite people. We have been having this training every year, 4 times every year. So I wish we also invite people to come for this training so that everybody will be educated. I appreciate everybody. Thank you very much for this great opportunity. May God continue to bless us and empower us with his wisdom, with his anointing, and with his grace. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm grateful.
Yes. Any questions from anyone? If not, then we will wind up because I hope all of you might be feeling tired today because the section has exceeded nearly 45 to 50 minutes more than the stipulated time. And we were all so much fortunate that we could get this extended session for our extended knowledge, right? I should thank and I should be extending my heartfelt gratitude to both the speakers of the day, Dr. sorry, Dr. Alia and also Professor Nada for really making us think and learn and enhance our skills. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, International Internship University. Thank you, Snigdha ma'am.
Sir, before you wind up, I would like to thank you as well You were, and you are with us always. And thank you for moderating the session beautifully for all these 4 days. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Ravi Kumar sir, Dr. Shri Vidya, Professor Nada, Dr. Virginia, and our Vice Chancellor, Professor Charles, for being with us, supporting us. And I think indeed it was a great time with you all for all these 4 days. I should say it's a great batch of scholars, right? First time it was so interactive, otherwise it used to be the monotonous. Hardly there used to be any questions from the participant side earlier. So it was indeed a great, and herein I take the privilege to announce you all as the certified global trainers by the International Internship University. With this note, we congratulate, thank you all. Keep learning, keep growing, keep exploring with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice
Thank you.
future
you.
ahead.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Nada.
everyone.
Yeah.
Um,